Hello, welcome to Box to Board. So this is the second part of the Silver of the Sea, and we are basically going through. We're going to go through what our party knows so far, and I'm going to ask, what do you think is going on to each of them? We've had a little chat, so let's see what they come up with, and this could be entertaining, especially at the end. Okay, go for it, Gabriella. What do you think's going on?
I think Zach is a mermaid child that has been swapped. It's the thing with human sacrifices. I think the priest that supposedly has committed suicide was possibly a sacrifice. Yeah, that's about all I've got so far.
Okay, Madison.
Well, initially I thought we were heading towards werewolves because they keep mentioning about 28, the new moon coming. But now I'm actually thinking we are looking more at tidal stuff, also something from the sea. So is he something connected to a mermaid? I don't think he is a natural born child of Abella. I think there's something not right there. And I think Paul is also dead. And I think the priest was either got too close to finding out the truth, or, as Gabriella says, he's a sacrifice.
Right. Okay. Selma, what do you think? Oh, note taker of note.
So I think that I am also on the same page as Madison and Gabriella, and I think that Zacharias is a mermaid child of some sort. But I think Paul killed the priest, and I think that Zacharias was angry about this for drawing attention to them all, and I think he has offered Paul as a sacrifice to his people.
Right. Okay. Astrid, what do your visions tell you?
Well, I think I had a pretty strong vision about the sea, and we had an encounter, a magical encounter that we only just survived in the boat. So we're all pretty certain that it's to do with that there are mermaids involved. Plus the fact that nobody's using any cutlery that is made of metal, or the wooden handles, and any touch of the metal would break the mermaid spell. So I think there's an awful lot of people on the island who are under the mermaid spell. And I agree about Zachary. I think Zacharias, that he seems like very different to everybody else, like different to his brothers, and everybody else is possibly his family are under the spell, and that's why they accept him as a brother. The other brother that went, either he's been swapped for the other brother, or the other brother is a sacrifice. But I do think that maybe the priest was under the spell, had found something out he shouldn't have found out, and maybe it was under the spell of the mermaid that turned the god on himself. So it actually, ironically, was a suicide, although not really, because he was forced to do it.
Okay. And Rasmus.
I think we're all roughly along the same sort of lines. So Zach, I think, is a mermaid child that's been switched over and has enchanted the rest of the family. I think he killed Benjamin, the father, and to take sort of the place of the head of the family. I don't think the priest was sacrificed. I think potentially he found out too much, or potentially he was able to try and take the enchantment off of Paul, and has been killed. Or alternatively, Paul has been a sacrifice at the last new moon, and now the next new moon is coming along. I think we're in trouble.
Okay. So I'm not going to say anything. because that's interesting. So what you said is really quite, yeah, we'll see. So what are you going to do? So far you've explored, just in terms of places, you've explored the inn, the big house, the warehouse. What do you want to do next? I will say,
We met with Orvar, who had a fishing hut, and we weren't able to go there because I think we're short on time.
yeah.
For dinner, and I wonder whether it's because we were pointed in Orvar's direction. I wonder if it's worth speaking to Orvar when perhaps he's not as three sheets to the wind as he was last night when we tried to speak to him.
Might be, yeah, okay. So how are you going to go about it? Because you don't know where his cabin is. So what will you do? You know it's somewhere in the area, but you're not exactly sure where at the minute.
We ask someone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
can we go back to the inn and ask?
Yeah, I think we're in the inn, aren't we?
We're staying there, aren't we?
Overnight.
No.
No, we stayed on the boat, didn't we?
No,
And
we
we all
went,
had
no.
the badge.
Don't start that again. Don't start that discussion.
I thought we stayed there in the end.
Oh, it was a very
No,
decision. That it was a very difficult decision.
Come on.
we ended up on the boat and had the horrible thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we
We learnt a lot. We learnt a lot.
Who
I
took the
got
condition?
a physical I got a physical condition out of it, which I'd like to try and sort out at some point.
I don't remember this at all.
I took the
You're right,
I took the first watch whilst you all slept, and you all got conditions. I think.
Yeah, we all got horrible nightmares.
I remember the nightmare, but I don't remember sleeping on a boat.
That's when we all decided we're not staying on the sea anymore.
To be fair, it would have happened at the end as well, so it was fine.
Yeah.
Did we sleep on the boat in the end then?
Sort of.
We didn't get very much sleep.
I thought we were
some
at
of
the
you were
inn.
exhausted and some of you were fine.
No, we went to sleep with the boat, but we didn't get much sleep.
So you go to the inn, you have a chat, and basically one of the locals says, "Oh yeah, Orford lives out in Graveyard Isle," and he gives you directions. So you basically sail out. Now, as you're going, yeah, he's lived on this island as long as anybody can remember. Nobody can really remember where he came from, but he seems to know everything that happens in the island. Suddenly, about halfway through, so it's about an hour there. About halfway along, the sea is lovely and tranquil. It's actually a beautiful morning, and you're just, you actually, after last night, you're quite relaxed. But out of nowhere, there's a real squall hits, and there's really hard winds hit the boat, and very, very heavy rain. Storm comes out of nowhere. And basically, it's a very violent storm. So you are all on the upper deck, and this comes out of nowhere. So you're going to have to try and withstand it. So you're going to have to roll a force test. So it's going to be force, and so you've got to roll your dice for force, and you're also got to roll your dice for physique. So, and let me know if you get any sixes. Let me know if you don't, if how many sixes you get, and everybody rolls it. So it's going to be physique plus force.
I got one.
Got one. You're okay.
I've got one, Sid.
You're okay, Gabriella. Let's hope somebody else gets two.
That's not going to be me.
Got images of going flying off the boat now.
Oh
No.
no!
No. So basically, this thing hits, and as it hits, Madison and Selma grab the side of the boat and just hang on for all their worth. The rest of you get swept off into the ocean. Never to be no.
Oh
See you later, guys. Bye.
So now,
no! Okay.
So now you have to take an agility roll. So you're going to roll your agility. So it's going to be physique plus agility, and this is you're going to try and swim back to the boat. Now you can do this as many times as you like. But every time you fail, it's going to end. You're going to take a condition.
Oh no.
We do nothing to help them.
No.
You could, if you can describe to me how you could help, I will describe to me how you could help, and I will work from there.
I've got a 6.
You've made it back to the boat.
We find a rope on the boat, throw it over.
Okay.
Oh, actually, let them all roll first.
You can make it on their own. Don't waste any energy.
Yeah.
Do it once and then once. Then we'll talk.
I'm fine, thanks, Madison. I made it back.
So you find a rope. So you're going to chuck the rope to somebody. Rasmus, what are you going to do?
Oh, I swam back. I got a success and swam back.
So you swam back, but what can you do to? Oh, you swam back to help. Yeah, Selma, what are you going to do? Can you help in any way?
I'm trying to think how I can help. I think that all my reading and all my research on everything could help me know how to save people in water.
I would say stick your hand out.
That would be very helpful. I will stick my hand out and give them a helping hand back onto the boat.
Gabriella,
it's amazing what research and reading
I know,
does.
lots of research.
What have I taken?
Another physical condition because you've taken a mouthful of water. But the next test that you do to get back to the boat, I'm going to give you 3 extra dice because the rope will count as equipment on your part, and then the other 2 are helping you.
Okay.
So you, even with your talent at rolling or not rolling 6s, you should theoretically. Now everybody at this point is cheerleading and everything else, but you can only take a maximum of 3 help dice. So
I knew that Gabriella was weak.
She never trusted me as well. But when she's drowning, she'll take a rope from me.
the fact you're all talking as if she's dead.
1 6.
Yay!
Saying, I've always had that feeling about him.
Gabriella is now back on the boat. And
Yay!
so, yeah, it's just I've just realised Astrid has literally quoted her sheet.
That's just the relationship between Gabriella and I.
You're weak. What do you mean? Getting thrown off into a howling storm? And
we'll help you out. Get back on the boat.
Just a hurricane. Grab her. So, So the wind abates just suddenly. So this thing hit, it flung somebody over the side, and then it just stops after that. So it's a very, very odd thing. You come onto Graveyard Isle, and you see Orvar's little hut. He is there, but you assume he's there because there's smoke coming out of the chimney. So what's your plan?
Should go in and talk to him.
Okay.
Or look through the window first of all.
He's asleep.
Okay.
He's sleeping off the night before.
Do I look around or should we just wake him up?
I think it'd be worth
a little nosy. How deeply is he sleeping?
I would say fairly deeply.
I reckon we should try to see
have a bit of an investigation.
The noise reminds you of the storm, and Gabriella shivers.
Oh, Gabriella.
Horrible flashbacks already.
We have a nosy around.
Actually, pause. I've got the cap.
Yeah,
don't forget the cap.
I forgot my prop the last time. Professional. Right. So anyway, so he's snoring with his pipe, which has got hot ash all around him. That's how you know he's really, really, really sleepy. Yeah. So what are you doing? You're
Having
having
a
a look.
nosy first.
It's not really anything there.
Oh,
Nothing there.
Just a basic cabin. There's nothing of any note, really, to be honest.
okay.
So,
Knock on the door.
Bucket of water.
okay.
A bit hard.
So I just wring out my clothes on him.
Yeah, good idea, Gabriella.
I'm just thinking.
Is that-
Gabriella just
Gabrielle
sprinkle
goes
him.
for the knock, and I'll go for the bucket of water over him.
Bring out your hair.
yeah, you don't.
Wakey, wakey.
So is it, which one is it? A bucket of water? I wouldn't suggest clothes because you might freak out a little bit if a private detective, a female private detective, suddenly started wringing her clothes on. Be completely confused.
Yeah, chuck a bucket of water on him.
Bucket
Come
of
on.
water on him.
Over
Yeah.
and
Oh, God damn it! Why? What? Oh, you guys.
Sleep.
Why are you not away? Why are you not away yet? You shouldn't be here. It's dangerous to be.
You keep saying that. What do you know?
I know many things about this. What do you want to know? I could tell you everything, but you'd be here for as long as I've been alive, and that would be difficult.
Can you tell us?
Stop.
Oh. You go.
I was going to say, let's start with what happened to the priest.
What happened to the priest? He argued with that family, which I can never remember the name of, the Amundsons, and he's not here anymore. He killed himself from what I thought.
But why have they got his possessions then?
Why do they have his possessions?
Yes.
That's odd.
His gun, his pocket watch, and his crucifix.
That's odd. That is odd. I don't know.
where were you at the last new moon? What did you see?
I didn't see anything particular. I was. Can you guess where I was at night? I'll give you a clue. It involves alcohol.
When you say it's dangerous, why is it dangerous?
I know strange things happen at the new moon. I know every new moon, Herring Baron and his family sail out to Scary on the outer part of the archipelago. It's not marked on the maps, so don't even try to look for it on the map. You can only see it occasionally above the water, really only at the new moons. We call it Deep Reef. I've never been there myself. I don't want to be there. I know that that place is cursed. I don't know why. I don't know how. That place is cursed. There's something wrong about that. There's something wrong there. Because I've been in these waters a long time. And there's something wrong.
And they all go, even Abella.
Yeah, especially Abella. Well, you've seen Abella. Zacharias and Abella are the brains of the outfit. She's the nasty one. She sometimes pretends to be. Can flick like a switch.
What about Paul? Did he go?
Whole family goes. Haven't seen Paul in weeks.
Did the priest know about this?
He never said. I'd never talked to him, but he never asked me. He may have known about it, but I don't know how, and I don't know who would have told him if I didn't tell him. I only know because I keep slightly irregular hours. You may have noticed.
When was the last time you saw him? You spoke to him.
Who, the priest?
Yeah.
He's never talked to me. He's only ever preached at me. Never really. I think he thought I was beyond redemption, so I wasn't worth his time.
What about Paul? When was the last time you saw and spoke to him?
Have you ever tried to have a conversation with those brothers? I saw him 6 weeks ago. Depending on who you talk to, he's either gone on a visit to the Mediterranean or some business, or I think he must be globetrotting around Europe. But like I said, you've seen the brothers. Do you think he could seriously go somewhere on his own?
Where do you think he is?
I don't know. He could be hiding out for some reason. He may. I don't know. He could have something to do with this priest business, but
Do you think he had something to do with the priest's death and he's hiding?
It's possible, but to be honest, the priest, he wasn't the most level-headed person, and the idea that he would commit suicide doesn't seem strange to me.
Where would Paul be hiding, do you think? You know, if he's not got the brains to head around Europe, and would it be somewhere close, would you think?
He's spent his whole life in these islands. He doesn't have the brains to go around Europe on his own, but this is his home. These islands. Long before I know about these people. The Herringbone and his family, they were wreckers and murderers, and they spent time ducking and diving on these islands, hiding from people who wanted revenge for what they'd done, for murders they'd done. There are some very strange things about that family.
What kind of places would people hide? Are there places here, but
there's caves in some of the islands. But that's not the weirdest thing about that family. There's nothing normal.
What do you think's the weirdest thing then?
You'll think I'm mad.
Try us.
Everybody thinks I'm mad. It hasn't put this lot off.
Well, young lady, I would say the fact that Zacharias was found at sea.
He was found at sea.
He was a sea child, and when I was a young man, people would tell stories about sea children, and How long have you got?
All night.
Yep.
You may regret that. I'm just going to check. So, well, the Kraken has always given rise to sea children. The Kraken comes from the depths of the ocean. And you see him settle down into his chair as he starts to do this. He's getting this real. He's got an audience, basically. The Kraken comes from the depths. And as it comes up, there's glowing lights come in front of it. And sometimes it gives up a child. And the Kraken is like Neptune to those old Greek guys. He's just in control of everything. And you always respect him. That's why you're always afraid in the sea. And like the time I was in, I was out one night in October, and it was bad. There was a storm came up, and 3 guys got swept over the side of the boat, and I was the only one who made it out alive. These are bad waters. These are treacherous waters. But you can see a will-o'-the-wisp across the top as well sometimes. You see the glowing light just coming across the top. But I would say, to be honest with you, the weirdest thing about it is that Abella is incredibly frustrating, is incredibly deceptive. I wouldn't trust her. I think she's There's something going on with her. But then Pete and Paul and that other one, all the P's, between them, they've got one brain. There's some significance to that. Mind me, there's significance to that. But Zacharias, he was brought up by them. And what happened to the father? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
What happened to that? He was a violent brute of a man. He was horrible. And he used to beat those boys. The reason why they're the way they are is they were beaten every day. And then suddenly, he just wasn't there anymore. After Zacharias had come along. How did anybody believe that he was Zacharias whenever this couple didn't have the imagination to call a child by a name that didn't start with the letter P? I mean, what all their sons are called P.
Paul, Pace.
Do you know where the P came from?
I think they literally put their finger in the one book that they owned and went.
There wasn't a reason.
The first one was called Paul, and then they kind of went, okay, we'll call the rest of them after P as well because it'll make it easier to remember.
Yeah.
Because I can never remember it. Zacharias, he grew up, and they brought him up, and Abella and Zacharias got on really, really well because Zacharias is sharp. I mean, he's sharp. He's always had a real affinity with the sea. He always gets it. He understands it. You know, he was so good at swimming, it was crazy. But he basically, they started to get involved. The wrecking business started to really take off whenever he came along, whenever he grew up, and they taught him how to do it. And they were taking big trophies. I mean, they were taking a lot of money, and all that money gets saved up and stuck into buying the Wrecker Island. So what he did was basically the father was saving all this money, and the mother wanted to do something with it, but the father was a real miser. And eventually Zacharias and the father, I think, had a fight. And they were always arguing. You could hear them arguing. Because whenever it's night, whenever it's these waters can be really still, and whenever it's like that, you can hear what people are saying in another boat half a mile away, even if they're whispering. And you could hear they were at it like cat and dog. They were really going at each other. And then one night, they weren't going at each other anymore because the old boy wasn't there anymore. Abella took over, so she's the matriarch. She's the one who's in charge of this place, and she took over. And Zachariah took on the business of the fish, and she bought out. Basically, it looks like she bought the island and put half of the money that's stored up from the wrecking business went into the fisheries, and half went into the inn. And the rest is history, really, to be honest.
Did anybody ever look for the old man? For the father?
His body washed up. They said he got swept overseas. Body got washed up and he's buried.
Whereabouts did his body wash up? Anywhere near where the priest was?
No, well, everything washes into that cove, to be honest. It's just where I've got some of my best drinks have come out of that. There was one night, 20 years ago, that a load of stuff washed over the side of a boat, they said. And some guys were smuggling in. And had a very jolly week or two.
Do you think, I mean, you said that the Kraken controls, I mean, you know, and the comes from the depths of the ocean, and that Zacharias is a sea child. I mean, it'd be very convenient it'd be great to have a business where you relied on ships being wrecked if you could control the sea.
No man can control the sea.
But he's not a man.
He is a man. He's a sea child. He's a sea child. He's got legs.
I'm just thinking that if everything washes up in that cove, including all the booze that you enjoyed and the bodies, then that'd be great if you could control, if you could wreck ships on purpose and then have all of their contents wash up into the same cove.
You don't need to do it on purpose in these waters. I'll tell you what, if you want to see how to crash a boat, you guys take it out without one of the locals. Take a boat out, see how long you last. I bet you'll be as wet as this young lady over at the side. Actually, you're all pretty drenched at the minute from what I can see. So
yeah, I've been in earlier.
We had an interesting crossing.
The waters you can get a storm just brew up out of nothing. It comes so sudden in these waters.
But the glowing light, we should maybe look for the glowing light.
Yeah, the glowing light. Mind you, I'd had a fair bit to drink that night. Yeah. But it was a beautiful thing. There was like this ghostly light, and it was the figure of a maiden just floating across, just glowing across the surface of the sea. It was beautiful. I could tell you things about these waters. I mean, they're just.
So, do you think there are mermaids too in the waters?
There are mermaids everywhere. There's always mermaids. You got to respect them. And if you ever hear them, do you know what to do? Do you know what to do?
No.
Cheese in your ears.
I was going to say, fingers in our ears.
Cheese. French cheese in your ears. And say,
cheese.
hello, hello. That's what you've got to do.
Not Edam.
So I had to get an obscure reference. Not Edam. That's Dutch cheese. Dutch cheese doesn't work. It's not good.
Right. Too many holes.
The gaps aren't good.
Yeah.
One of my friends, what was his name now? No, I haven't got it. He heard a mermaid, jumped over the side, drowned. He had a few issues actually at home at the time as well, and he'd been fairly sad for quite a long time, and then he was really maybe not. And he saw some brandy in the water. I took the brandy off him.
Kind of you.
I didn't want him to sink. And I thought
we had an experience on the boat. I mean, apart from the fact that the sea was rough today, and a couple of us got thrown overboard. We had an experience on the boat where it was very dangerous, but it was like we couldn't breathe and the water was coming in. We're sure that it was magic. What do you think of that?
You couldn't breathe and water was coming, so the boat was sinking.
But it was not really.
So the boat was sinking, but the boat wasn't really sinking.
No, it was as if it was sinking.
When did this happen?
Last night.
Right.
We were asleep.
Oh, I know what that is. They call it a nightmare.
But we all had the same.
You all had the same nightmare.
Yeah.
Rasmus, did you?
I didn't. I was awake.
So you were awake, and they had a nightmare, and they all had the same nightmare.
Yeah.
And they all were drowning.
By the sound of it.
Rasmus, why are you sort of hanging out with these lunatics?
I asked myself that this very morning. when I fell in the water in the storm and nobody helped me.
My hand out.
Nobody helped.
I was busy saving myself.
Astrid was happy saving herself.
Yeah.
Oh, they picked
whilst we were trying to do things.
Who do you
So
think we
speaking
should?
of
We
that-
want to know more about. Who do you think we should speak to next? We want to know what happened.
I think you may have talked to everybody. Let me. I shall
We
think.
don't think the priest killed himself, so we want to know what happened there.
You know what? It's new moon. I would say it's new moon tonight.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I think it might be worth heading out to the deep reef.
If you want the instruction, if you want not the instructions, if you want directions, I can tell you how to get there, but I'm not going with you.
I think we want the directions. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
Why
either
would you
that
not- why would you not
hide
come
on,
with us,
hide on
Eva?
their boat, and I don't think that would go down well.
No.
You know
Ova,
what?
why would you not come with us?
Because it's cursed. Actually, you know what? I don't think it's wise for you to go. I won't tell you. I won't tell you how to go. You're going to have to manipulate me.
Yes.
I can do
Well,
that.
I just happen to have here, Ova. I have here some liquor.
Oh, now that might make it a little bit easier for you. You could almost sit
Yeah.
nice extra.
I'd like to sit and have a drink with you for.
Now there's a man I understand. So I would say you've got at least a dice worth there for that. So you can
Yeah.
roll a dice extra. A good friend of mine. But which of you young ladies would like to manipulate me, or Rasmus? Would you like to?
Well, I do quite well with manipulation. So I've got 8 already without the liquor.
What are these numbers you speak of?
Yeah. So that's
It's as
8
if you have
drinks
to
worth.
roll dice at this point and see what
That's
happens.
8 drinks worth.
Oh, now you're talking.
No, you didn't hear that. We always roll dice to
Wow.
decide what we're going to do. We're that kind of team people.
That's the way we
Well,
roll.
we-
Yeah.
We roll exactly. That's the way
3
we roll.
shots of successes, I think.
You had lots of successes,
Oh,
perhaps.
yeah, 3 shots worth of success.
3 shots worth. In that case, I will give you all of the information about how to get there. I'd give you a pat on the back, and you will feel smug in this.
I will take that. Yeah.
So I can take my cap off now and stop talking with the pipe and the cylinders. So basically, you know how to get there. That's what it boils down to, which is helpful because otherwise you'd be in trouble. So, what is your plans? What are your plans?
So we have to get a boat, right? But and we can use our boat that we arrived on, right? But do we need somebody to help us get there? Because I'm a bit worried that we're all going to end up overboard again.
You've got the guy who was the pilot of the boat.
Okay, he's going to come. That's good.
Okay.
Where was he when we needed him earlier? Okay.
Steering the
Who
boat.
steered us into the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did actually. Anyway,
Yeah. Can we trust him?
so I take it you're going to try and go to Deep Reef. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Now,
Uh-oh.
the boat sails off into dark waters with no guiding light, but stars, a brilliant band of the Milky Way. The moon is nowhere to be seen, as if it is swept out of the sky, because it's new moon, not full moon. And the last dying rays of the evening sun glow faintly on the western horizon. Cliffs and islets of the archipelago cower around you like dark shadows against the glittering water. As the hours go by, the pink of the horizon turns into purple before it dwindles and fades. The bow of the vessel cuts relentlessly through the waves. You pass the last of the islands and find yourself alone on a vast, black sea. The breeze is gentle, and the reflections of stars glitter on the surface of the water, erasing the line between night, sky, and sea. A glowing light suddenly appears in the water around you. A symphony of sea fire and turquoise, blue, and green dances around the vessel, so bright that it hurts your eyes. In the depths below, a wondrous light emerges, a huge palace of gold and silver, with slender arches and narrow towers shimmering deep down at the bottom of the sea. The light bewitches your senses, making you want to slip silently into the water and swim down into the deep, never to return. The sharp voice of the skipper breaks the spell. The underwater city fades before your eyes. Some 100 meters in front of you rises the dark silhouette of a jagged, rocky island. You've reached Deep Reef. Something tells you you will never be the same after setting foot in this place at the edge of the world. That is, of course, if you return. So, you moor at Deep Reef. Are you going to be careful? Are you going to come in quietly? Are you going to rush on? What are you doing?
I think come in quietly.
Yeah.
So
I've got quite a lot of stealth.
Okay.
I think that I'm should maybe use that in case there's somebody already on the island.
So you're going to knock out all your lights, attack, and that kind of thing. So what you want to do is you'll need a couple of things then to do. First of all, you might want to investigate the island, so actually do a learning check, just to see what you can make out of the island itself.
Yeah.
You might then want to try and do a stealth out, just to sit, sort of like a scout about and see what you can see. But it is very dark, so you're not going to be able to see miles ahead. You sort of see shadows. Your eyes are adjusted, but you're 20 feet away. This is really as far as you can see any detail.
I can do some investigation.
Yep.
Because I've got 6 and then I've got my camera as well, which I've got a bonus of 2.
Now, if you're being stealthy, would you use, it might not be the best idea to use your camera because you'll have to flash at night.
Probably not. So then I just have 6.
Okay, go for it. See what you can find out.
I've got 2 6s.
Okay, so the archipelago is granite. This isn't granite. It's something you've never seen before, but it's definitely not granite. And it's odd. It's an odd stone. As you're right, so now what's your next? So at the minute you're all basically in the boat at the minute. What are you going to do?
I think we need to. So we're still in the boat, so we need to approach the island and moor the.
So you've moored down, but you've moored. The thing I would say with stealth is you can all do a stealth move, and basically any bonus successes people get can help the people. You can give them to people.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I've got quite a lot of stealth, so I could roll for that.
I've not got bad stealth.
You'll all need to roll individually.
I'll roll stealth.
In case of buffing.
But we can pass on our wins, basically.
Yeah.
Stealth and precision, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I got 2 6s.
1.
No, for me, I step off a boat and trip over a bucket.
Woohoo, Gabriella.
Yeah.
I've got 2 6s.
Okay, so basically what will happen is you pass it on to Rasmus. One of you passes the spare one on to Rasmus, and you're.
I'll give you my one, Rasmus, because you're really growing on me.
Rasmus is now thinking.
More for you. More for you, Astrid.
This could be fun.
I gotta say, I got 2, and it's like I don't want to give one to him.
If you ever if you ever get fed up with the character, just pursue this line down to its logical conclusion, and yeah, that'll go well. Be awesome. Sorry, but The thing is, if you're watching at home, if you've no idea what we're talking about, it's to do with this backstory. There's a video on it. Check it out. It's awesome. But yeah. So basically, what happens is that at this point, as you sort of go over a bit and you hear movement, and what you can see is the family. So I'm just going to double check. You've got. Let's see if I can get it right bit. Yeah, the family are on the island, and there's a barrel, and then they've got the two brothers are carrying a barrel, and Zachariah, and they're up sort of, if you imagine they're inland a little bit. Bella's there, and Zacharias, she's standing with the two brothers and this barrel. And then Zacharias just wanders down. He walks to the outer shore of the deep reef, sits down, and splashes the water with his feet. He's just paddling effectively, and he seems very relaxed. Time passes, and then the first light of dawn glows red in the east. And suddenly, there's a ripple in the water a bit further out. There's a splash, and then another, and a creature emerges from the waves, and it looks a bit like. I'm going to share screen with you. It looks a bit like this.
Yay!
So. You may change your mind. It's unspeakably beautiful. It's also horrible and terrifying. She slides up onto the shore 10 meters away from Zacharias, smiling enigmatically. You have to do a fear check. You can either tackle it with logic, or you can tackle it with empathy. And you don't want to become terrified. So you can also add 3 extra dice because there's a party of 5. So effectively you'll bolster each other a little bit. So each of you is going to roll an extra 3 dice.
Can I use my talent as well of brave? So
Yep.
I get a +1.
Yep, you do. So because you're all alert and awake, you're going to have that extra 3 dice, by the way. So you didn't last time because you were in your own world at the time.
Okay, so I'm rolling. What is it? Do I need to roll logic?
Logic or empathy.
Oh, empathy. Just logic or empathy.
Yep.
Plus the 3 dice that you're
3 dice.
getting for the.
And tell me how many successes you get.
Ooh. 2.
I've got 3 successes.
Wow.
I've got one.
1.
Did anybody not get a success? Yay, you're not terrified. That's good. That's good, because if you're terrified, it's embarrassing. So Zacharias gestures to Pete and Pace, who so far have kept their distance, and they bring forth some barrels. And what are you going to do at this point? Are you going to do anything, or are you just going to keep watching?
I think we just need to keep watching for the moment.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Okay. The
what
barrel.
else we could do other than keep watching. So otherwise, we're going to draw lots of attention to ourselves, aren't we? We don't really know what's going on.
The barrels get opened, and you spot basically out of the barrel. There's a few barrels. There's 2 people you don't recognize, and there's Justina, and they are forced onto their feet at gunpoint. They're dazed, And the mermaid smiles at them,
Oh dear.
gestures. I'm going to stop.
Justina, the barmaid.
Yeah, Justina.
And she's smiling at them. And then she starts to sing.
Oh, we need to put cheese in our ears.
Our ears. We need to stuff something in our ears.
Cheese.
We'll stuff anything in our ears.
It's a more beautiful song than anything you've ever heard.
No, don't want to listen to it. I don't want to listen to it. La, 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 la.
She's singing, what are you going to do? The mermaid's song, what would you do?
So if the mermaid singing are we saying this is sort of charming the people to? She's basically, it's almost like the sacrifice, isn't it? They're going to make them drown.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to put metal on the skin.
Yeah, I was going to get my knuckle dusters out, and if need be, try and
Okay.
find a way to press that to the skin. And
They're about 30 yards
Chop
away.
them.
So nobody's going to do it. Are you all just going to...
I'm going to put my fingers in my ears, I think.
Okay. Good call.
I said that first.
We
Okay.
thought we were doing that already.
Okay, so are you putting your hands over your ears? Is that...
Yeah.
I've got
Good
paper
call. Okay, so
with me,
first-
so I'm going to put paper in my ears so my hands are free.
Good idea.
Shell.
Okay, so hands over the ears. So Rasmus shouts, "Get your hands over your ears!" Madison's already shouted, so they already are aware of your presence. You put your hands over your ears.
My fingers in my ears. Just say. Not my hands.
Just indelicate.
Unfortunately, your witch nails are so long that they can't get the song. It was Agatha all along as the song that she sang.
Was.
Yeah, it was singing. So basically, these are now the victims are starting to walk towards the mermaid, and she's taken their hands. Justina is the last. She takes one of them, one of the looks like a fisherman, takes him by the hand and just keeps eyeballing it and just walks him into the water, and he just disappears out of view. And she stops singing for a split second while she's under the water. What do you do?
I think we need to rush forward
Yeah.
to close the gap between us.
Okay.
And we
Good.
either need to, I know, me shooting from a distance is sometimes the worst thing, but do we want to try and shoot at the mermaid as soon as she comes out of the water again?
I don't know if it's a good idea to shoot at the mermaid. I'm kind of thinking that we should maybe concentrate on Zacharias because he seems to be calling her. But I don't know. I was just thinking that she's the mermaid. I don't know how much good it would do because she might just dive back in the water and be gone, or I'm not sure.
But we need to break the spell.
Zacharias is shouting at you, "Fools! Don't you know what you're doing? These sacrifices are small price to pay for the riches we receive in return. Herring, the rich silver of the sea. By denying the sea its sacrifices, you are breaking our covenant. You will doom the whole archipelago and all the people to poverty, starvation, and death. I beg of you, be sensible. Weigh this thing up."
And we shout back, it's murder.
It's sacrifice. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. No, sorry, even the one. No, sorry. What are you going to do?
Shoot him.
You're going to shoot at him?
You want me to shoot him?
Oh, sorry.
I was good thinking about maybe punching him with my knuckle duster.
Oh yeah, that's probably less murderous.
How many people are under the spell as well of the mermaid? Yeah.
Can we get to people and touch
Yeah, I'd like to try and
Then
touch.
with
I've got
metal.
a steel crowbar that I want to touch Abella and the boys with.
And
Peter and
the
Vaesen.
waitress, people that haven't yet been sacrificed will obviously be on our side. They might help us.
You might.
Not going to want to, die.
Okay, so what is happening? What are you doing?
Christmas.
We're all running, touching people with metal by the sounds of it.
Okay, so as you do that, Zacharias and Abella and all of them basically see what you're up to, and basically Zacharias, let me just see what he's got. He draws a knife out. Pete draws out the pistol, and Pace draws out a knife as well, and
What you got? A knuckle duster and a gun.
Abella reaches
got a rifle.
behind, and out comes the shotgun. Not a pump action. That'll be awesome.
Whose idea was this? God's sake!
What other weapons have we got?
I wanted to shoot right from the start, and you were.
You can shoot. You can shoot.
Everybody
Actually,
roll
those
that.
with ranged weapons could take out those with the guns.
Yeah.
perhaps.
Everybody roll 2 dice and tell me what their numbers are.
Only 2.
Me too.
You want to roll low.
Oh.
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 I got 2 2s and a 4.
Hang on. Give me a second.
Rolling 2 dice.
I've got only
You said 3 dice, didn't you?
two dice.
Oh,
Two dice.
sorry.
I'm gonna because I rolled 3.
Done it.
I rolled 3 as well.
Oh, my word. Folks, you need to roll really low.
Oh no.
I rolled 2 1s.
Okay.
Oh,
Wow.
It's the only time it's come in handy.
brilliant.
Right, so Gabriella got 2. Madison, what did you get?
4 and a 5.
9. Okay. Good luck. Selma.
I got 3 and a 1.
Yep. And Astrid
1 and a 6, so 7.
and Rasmus
7.
7. Do you want? I could give you good news or bad news, but let's just see what happens, okay? And this is, by the way, the mermaid currently is in the water. Okay, so I just need to check one thing about the mermaid. Just see what she is going to do, because I have a feeling you might end up with a very interesting scenario. No, it's okay. So at the minute, right, that's fine. So basically, Gabriella, you're going to go first, and then it's going to be Selma, and then they get to do things for a bit. So Gabriella, what are you going to do?
Okay, so I'm thinking.
I'm going to say you're about 2. You're not right beside them, so you're not sort of within punching distance. You're going to have to move and punch them, or
Okay.
you can shoot at them. Effectively, is where you're at. So you're in that kind of.
Okay. I'm going to put on my knuckle duster. If I have to dash to get to someone, I will. Who to go for?
Either Bella or
Yeah,
I reckon
the
Zachariah.
other one with the gun.
yeah. I think I'm going to go for a Bella.
Okay. Okay. So, and you're going to use close combat attack.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's going to be close combat and physical. And she is. Let me just check 1 or 2 wee bits, because this point. So what's going to happen is that she has got the ability to defend herself or dodge, the same as anybody else, and the same as you guys actually have whenever somebody swings at you. So it's going to be interesting. I hope I get this right. So, yeah, give it a go. So, and you can also do things like hold and wrestle if you, but that's with force. So if you could either use your force or you can use your close combat. It's up to you. But if you try to hold her, you're going to have to use force. You could try and grapple her into that, or you could just try and pummel her, to be perfectly frank. Beat the old lady.
Okay, I'm going to use close combat.
Yeah. So your knuckle duster will give you +1.
Yep. So that will bring it up to. So it was 2. That will bring it up to a 3, and then with that, that's physique, isn't it? Okay.
Yep.
Right, here we go.
Tell me how many successes you get.
One 6.
Okay. So she is going to try to see. Try and do that. She takes a hit, so she is worn out a bit by it. So I'm going to need to work out. So yeah, so she's taken a hit. You hit her in the ribs. Now, do you want to? Let's just check. I want to check something. You could conceivably do something quite clever here, but I need to just check. So one of the things you're able to do with, if you look at the skills bit in the book, so whenever we sort of play the second mission, I'm not going to be given, I won't be saying, oh, you can do this and you can do that. But instead of actually giving her damage, you could knock a weapon out of her hand.
I was thinking about that. That's interesting.
Because she's got a shotgun.
Yeah, that would probably be the best thing to do.
Okay.
To knock the weapon out of her hand.
So the shotgun is lying on the ground. Now she can pick it up again and she will be able to shoot it. However, so you would know this. So it's on the ground. It doesn't mean that it's out of reach. You're kind of done with what you can do, but you've effectively disarmed her, which is helpful.
Could I roll for agility and go and grab the shotgun?
Once it's your turn, you can do that, and it is your turn. So if you want to run, you don't even have to roll for agility. It's on the ground. So you can run up and you can grab it, but that'll be all you can do this turn because you've got to run up close to her.
That's fine.
So you've got the shotgun now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Pete is now going to. He's not that fond of people thumping his mum. Mm-hmm. He's a fairly primitive bloke, so he's going to run over. And try to hit Gabriella. Okay. Gabriella, you've got a condition, don't you, at the minute?
Yeah,
okay.
I do. I have exhausted as my condition, and it's physical.
Oh my word. He misses.
Oh.
Somebody who rolls worse than you do. 10 dice. 10 dice. Who knew? That was Pierce, sorry, that did that. So he ran over and he took a swipe at you and just missed completely. Pete, the one with the gun, is going to take a shot at Selma because she's got a gun. And the good news for you is he's not, he's not the brightest penny in the pudding. So. However, he happens to be a decent shot. So he hits you. So you take a condition. So you take a physical condition.
Okay.
So it means that the next thing you do, you're also going to have one less dice physically. So it's just to be aware of that. So then it goes to Astrid and then Rasmus, whichever one of you wants to go first. It's up to you guys.
don't mind. Okay. All right. In that case, was it Pete that had the gun, the revolver? I'm going to try and disarm Pete by hitting him with the crowbar.
Yep. Okay.
Is that going to be force or close combat? Mind you, it doesn't.
It'll be close combat. It's up to you, whichever.
Yeah, they've got the same for each of them, so it doesn't really matter. 6. So it's physique, close combat, plus crowbar. 7. 2 successes.
Okay, so you disarm him and he takes a condition. So I think that's Pierce, I believe, is the one who's armed. That's Pete, isn't it? So yeah, it's Pete. So he's taken he is disarmed now, and
have I got another move?
No. So the gun's lying on the ground, so he can pick it up the next turn, or somebody else can pick it up. But yeah, so and he's got 1 condition, so he's exhausted, he's winded by it. So you hit him across the hand, and his arm is sore now. You know, you can see he's visibly knocked by it and winded by it. Astrid, what are you going to do?
Who have we got left? Because somebody's got a knife, haven't they?
Zacharias has got a knife.
Yeah, I was thinking about. Now I don't know how. I guess this is 2 moves. I'm thinking that I was thinking about knocking the knife out of his hand or turning it against him, but I guess that might involve knocking it out of his hand and then picking it up, rather than just turning it against him. If you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll do that. Oh, no, nothing.
Nothing. Gladys, what do you want to do? I'm assuming shoot at things.
Well, who's got what?
So the only person now who is armed is Zacharias. There's 2 knives, so Zacharias and Pace.
Pace. Well, I think Zacharias is the bigger threat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to shoot.
Okay.
Okay, so what do I need to shoot with?
So you need to, it's going to be accuracy.
Oh gosh.
Or ranged combat and precision, sorry.
So ranged combat, so it's 3 of those.
And then you get.
I also get a +2 for my
rifle. Yeah.
marksman.
Yeah.
No, I get +2 for marksman. I then get +2 for rifle.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's my talent is marksman.
Yeah.
So is it literally just my ranged?
So +2 for your marksman, +2 for your rifle.
Yeah.
And then
my ranged.
And your precision.
And precision.
Yeah. You better run out of dice at this rate.
I am. I'm actually in my second colour of dice now.
Oh.
So I've got 12. Don't forget as well that I also get yeah, that's right. I get +2.
Gosh,
Okay.
jeez, scary.
1, 2, 3, 4 6s, and it's +2 to damage for my rifle.
Yeah, so +2 means that if it hits, he takes 2 conditions.
Right.
He is basically
carrying wreck on the floor.
Well, not exactly.
No.
Not exactly. He basically is broken, and he starts to crawl to the sea. He's right beside the sea at this point, so he's crawling into the sea.
Stop him.
So he is currently crawling into the ocean. He has got, now the interesting thing is, in terms of initiative, he has got the initiative now. So he successfully crawls right into the ocean and disappears into it. And immediately the others just go to S. They're just hands up.
Surrender.
Surrender it. What are you going to do?
Do we need to stop him from getting into the sea properly?
You do have
We don't have a chance.
He had the actions because basically you did all your actions. He's got an action left, so he just crawls in. If he'd already acted, you'd have got a chance.
So do we need to?
Who's left on the shore? So it's there's the family, but were any of the sacrifices not taken?
Yeah, there's two of them not taken.
Okay.
Are they still dazed or are they out?
They're still enchanted.
So
Do we need to touch them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can take my knuckle duster and just lay it against their skin to break the charm.
Hang on a second. Gabriella, that's who are you going to do?
There was Justina and a fisherman and another fisherman.
Yeah, my first initial thought is Justina first.
Okay, so you run over and you touch her, and she's like, and her head's really sort of like grabbing her head and just going, "Why did you make it stop? It was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. Why did you make it stop?
It was going to kill you.
But what a way to die. It's amazing." And she sort of just falls down with her face in her hands. The mermaid appears out of the water. What are you going to do?
I'm going to try and give it a gift. What have I got?
Talk.
Yeah.
So talk. Are you going to talk?
I think
You're going to try and talk to her. She starts singing again.
We're going to put our hands over our ears.
Yep.
She reaches out her hand and she takes the fisherman. And she goes, and as she brings him in, she said, "I only needed one sacrifice, but because of what you did to my child, I will take him too."
We knew it.
And then she looks at you and she goes, "You will regret this," and splashes into the water. As she does that, the ground starts to shake. And you're all flung into the air like rag dolls. And you land in the water. You all have to do an agility check.
Agility and physique.
It's just let me see. It's agility. Yeah, agility and physique. Yeah. Love this bit.
3 6s.
Oh wow.
That's a good roll.
One.
That could be very helpful. Did anybody not get
Amazingly
any?
agile.
I didn't get any.
So Astrid,
A weak Gabriella again.
what are you going to do? Astrid, what are you going to do?
Well,
I got
Let
one.
me try.
So
I mean, I guess I'll give her.
So
I'll
you-
help her out. I'll help her. I'll help her keep her head above water.
Okay.
But I'm not happy about it because I really think that she should improve her swimming skills.
So you've made it to the boat. So basically, you're not drowning. Now, good news is you're not drowning. The bad news is you're
still in
kind
water.
there's something in the water, and what it is pretty big, actually. That's the island.
Oh,
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 Oh, this is what we're standing on.
That's what you're standing on.
Oh,
So
sugar.
well, you got thrown off because it
You got-
moved.
yeah, and you need to now roll a fear check, and it's a pretty bad fear check.
what's fear check again?
So it's logic or emotion, or logic or empathy.
Logic or empathy?
Yeah.
and I'm going to use my talent again
Yeah.
as well.
Was it a particular empathy?
Let me see. I've completely lost it.
Oh, I thought it was the main logic or empathy.
Yeah, I think it's the
Attributes.
attribute. Yeah,
Oh, just the attribute score,
Yeah.
or not skill.
and
Right,
I have
okay.
3 dice because you've got people present.
Okay.
Oh wait,
Do we get how many dice for?
So you get your attribute of either logic or empathy +3,
+3. Okay.
and Gabrielle
fine.
gets an extra one because she's brave.
Oh, 1 6. That was lucky.
No, it wasn't. You're still petrified.
Oh,
I got 1 6 too.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I'm petrified.
I've
Yeah.
got 3 6s.
Okay,
Mm.
so you can get somebody to pick up the ride. Can you actually?
I've got a special skill, haven't I? That when people are
You can. Oh, good.
like when people are like have in a bad mental state, I can fix them.
Yeah, but I think you can only do that whenever.
Can I not do it in this role?
we have to be safe.
Yeah, you have to be in a safe place. This is not a
Okay.
safe place. Did anybody roll 2?
Yes, I did.
You did, so you're okay. The rest of you, not so much.
I
Uh,
rolled 3 6s.
Okay, you rolled 3 6s. Okay,
Yeah.
so and who else? Did anybody else roll 3? No. Yep.
I rolled 3.
So basically, Madison and Astrid are completely frozen in the water. The rest of you are going to need to hopefully roll. Now basically, they're going to be sitting in the water, just flipping out.
Flipping.
Just going,
Like
4.
a fish.
How long is the next question? And I can't. Oh my word! For 2 rounds, they're going to be sitting and going, just freaking out completely. So, what you need to do? They can't do this for themselves. Okay, so you have to swim to the boat. Okay, so you're going to need to do another agility check. You're at the boat. But to get on the boat, you need to haul them up. You can haul yourself up with an agility check, is what you're going to try and do. So that's the gist of it. So go for it. Everybody needs to roll an agility check that can, except for the 2 petrified people who are just thrashing about, panicking. Going, don't kill me, don't eat me, what are you? I don't like this, mummy.
I want my mummy.
I got 1 6.
1 6, you're fine, you get on the boat.
1 6.
You get on the boat.
Same here.
Oh,
And it's at that point that Orvar appears in a boat.
In his boat.
In a boat, and reaches out and grabs, and he just goes, "Gentlemen, I've pulled 2 ladies tonight," and he pulls you out of the water and drags you onto his boat.
Plenty of fish in the sea, as they say.
Sorry, I need to have the pipe. I'm gonna...
Yeah, don't forget the pipe.
That has to be. I have to do that. Gentlemen, I have pulled 2 ladies tonight. Plenty more fish in the sea. And he but you have now both taken a mental. You've both taken a mental condition, so you're both. I'll say frightened or hopeless. Angry wouldn't really fit.
Yeah.
But so. The Kraken is now going to let's see. Oh no, you're lucky actually in that one. So the Kraken starts to thrash about. Okay, and it basically what it does is you're currently in 2 boats. Do you want to try and get to the other? Do you want to try and get in the same boat? And if so, which boat?
Do we, Astrid? Do we want to try and join them?
I don't know. I think we're better off with where we are, because he's such. I think we kind of trust him, don't we? And he's a good.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's suddenly shown up to a place that he says he wouldn't show up to, but maybe because he knew we would need him.
Yeah.
So,
good point. It could be that he's somehow involved, or it could be that he's suddenly found a conscience.
Yeah, I think we stay in separate boats because we've got a better chance.
So we splitting the party that way, essentially.
I really want to get a sound effect for
that. Wait, what sound effect do you want?
Something like the QI one, like siren.
Quack, oops.
Dun, dun, dun. I think if they're not going to come to us, then maybe we should get back in their boat. But I'm just wondering.
I'd be quite happy jumping in with Orvar.
Yeah, just because it's your drinking buddy.
Absolutely.
You want to see where he goes and gets all the ale, all his drink in that cove, don't you?
Yeah, unless he's he sent us there and he told them that we were coming, or
Now, which boat are you going to go for? Are you going to go into one boat, or are you going to stay in separate boats?
I think it's better to jump into one boat, but I can't make everybody jump into the same boat.
So Rasmus, are you jumping into their boat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Taking agility. It's going to be a straightforward one because he's kind of pulled up nearby, but the waters are getting choppy.
Oh, 3 successes.
Okay. Does anybody else want to jump into the boat? The other boat, or are you going to stay where you are?
Yeah, I'll jump in.
I don't think we should split up.
Okay, go for it then. Jump across or stay. It's up to you guys.
Come over.
I'm really impressed, by the way, Rasmus, by your agility and that you've jumped in my boat.
You did the backflip.
Well, you two get a room.
I don't think Erasmus is as keen as I am.
No.
Erasmus is good.
I get too close.
He's got a different feeling towards me.
You shouldn't trust that man.
2
Time for Dweeb Man, Rasmus. It's the best bet. Dweeb Man. 2 successes?
Yep.
Cool. So you jump across. Selma?
Sorry. Is it physique?
Physique and agility.
1 success.
Yeah, you jump across. And
Roll
as you,
together
which boat are you in now?
Rasmus's.
with Orva.
Orva, not Rasmus's. You're Rasmus.
Just as well, really, because the Kraken stretches out a tentacle and smashes the other boat to pieces.
Yay! I mean, oh.
And the pilot on it, the last glimpse you see of him is a Y as it gets dragged under the water from the sort of down.
No.
You left me to die alone. Just
Sorry, you should have jumped. You can't, I suppose.
Hey, Levy.
Orver at this point goes. Sorry, gotta get the pipe. Orver is.
Hat and pipe. Hat. That's it.
Amateurs. If you wouldn't mind, ladies, and he completely ignores us. I would like to leave about now on our pleasure cruise. Would that be okay with you?
Yes. Yeah.
Rasmus, do you still have some of that liquor, by the way? Because I really could do with some right now.
Get moving when we're on the shore.
Okay, so we get basically the boat takes off like a bat out of hell, and the sails are nearly torn away because there's heavy gusts of wind start, like really, really hurricane force winds. The water is incredibly tumultuous, and it's incredibly. You're glad that you're with Orver because, to be perfectly honest, it's perilous sailing. It's properly scary. The Kraken has disappeared beneath the waves, and you're nearing the archipelago whenever you hear a deep rumble from below you. And what you see is you see a tidal wave several meters high approaching at terrifying speed. You're not going to be able to escape this. Your boat, it manages to stay afloat, but it is flung all over the place. You need to roll a force test. Everybody needs to roll one to not be swept away by this wave, because it's like being in a. You feel like one of those skimming stones. It's just bouncing all over the place, really.
Okay, so what's the force test?
So it's going to be force and physique.
Okay. Force and physique. Ooh,
No sixes.
No sixes.
I got 2.
I've got 2.
Okay. Anybody else? No. Astrid, did you get any sixes? Right. Here you go.
Ooh. Ooh.
I will say that you need to look at how people are at this point. It's up to you.
Gabriella's got, I would say Gabriella, because she has already got. Have you got 2 conditions, Gabriella?
I think I've just got the one.
Okay. Just
I would have got a second one, but I managed to bypass it.
okay. So Gabriella and I and Madison have all got conditions. But
I'm
Madison, you've got a
hunky-dory.
6, haven't you? So
I got 2 sixes.
yeah.
The question is, who do I give my other 6 to?
So you should give it to the 2 people with conditions, obviously.
I would agree with that.
I love the fact that
Oh, thanks, Rasmus. That's so nice.
Astrid's actually going. You need to give it to Gabriella.
Yeah,
But you've not got anything yourself.
Hang
Now,
on.
because of my relationships to them, I would. Because you haven't got any, have you, Astrid?
What's that?
Have you got any sixes?
No.
I would give to Astrid.
Okay. So, Selma, who are you going to give to? Is it going to be Rasmus or Gabriella that's going to live?
Do you know?
No! Oh,
Now, can I just sort of butter before? I don't think Selma ever did her a relationship to the others that to
No.
everyone though.
Not yet. It's emerging.
Yes.
About to get very clear between these two.
We are. Yes.
Yep.
So I am
I don't know
going
who
to
asked if we give
pull
it
it out of a hat.
I would say Gabriella. I think if she's already got 2 conditions,
Got one.
a
One
third one
condition.
could be really
So
troublesome.
sweet.
I have one physical condition.
I thought, oh right, okay. No, if it's only one, give it to Gabriella. No, give it to me.
Well done.
Okay. So who's still in the water? Rasmus?
Oh, she hasn't. Selma
Oh,
hasn't
she-
decided yet.
Oh, she's undecided.
No,
Decided. I'm picking it out of a hat.
because she hasn't done her relationships. She's never.
She says she's picking out a hat. She's decided already.
Yeah, I haven't. If you can't see it, but it says Keith.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh,
So
Oh, Gabrielle.
Gabriella is left in the water.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
oh.
Gabriella, you need to roll in the you take the condition. And you
well,
need to
I
roll
will
the,
throw her some rope. I will throw her some rope, but I'm not doing anything more than that.
Gabriella, you have
Mhm.
got to roll an agility check, and assuming that anybody will help, because they're not very nice people, these.
I like to
Your
help
body
like
likes
my
me.
responsibility.
So who's gonna? Is anybody going to help?
I'll
Oh,
throw her
well.
some rope.
Okay.
I'll help.
I'll give you
I
3.
can put my
extra
hand
dice.
out again.
You're good at that.
They're trying to. Yeah. I'll not rescue you, but I'll reach out my, sort of half-heartedly.
Okay.
reach out.
Yeah.
And what I love is Astra's going, nah, not help. Nah, she's weak. Die.
I've already helped her once.
Yeah.
How many times you got to help the same person?
Did you say I get 3 extra as well?
Yeah.
Oh, good. That will come in handy then. That will come in very, very handy. Okay. Oh. Oh no, hang on. Sorry, I read that wrong. I have 1 6.
Yay, you're not broken.
Oh.
She took it back onto the boat. The tidal wave passes over the boat, and you can see that it's passed over just about every island as well. And Orvar is just distraught, actually, as he looks, because he just sees devastation. As you're coming into, where are you coming into? Raker Island?
Yeah.
By the way,
Well, wherever Orva's taken us, really.
you've no idea what's happened to the family. And you've no idea what's happened to Justina.
Yeah.
In the middle of all this.
Sugar, I forgot about her.
Whoops.
She's very depressed.
She's just sitting on top of the Kraken as it submerged itself into the waters. Drowning. She's a nice girl. Sorry, I'm trying to make you feel guilty now, but it's not working. It's completely fictitious.
Was a nice girl.
Yeah. So you can see the jetties, the boats are all crushed by water. The sea is calm. You come into what remains of the jetty. It takes a bit of time to get there. This is hit a couple of hours ago, and you can see Oscar is trying to help people and trying to do what he can among the dead bodies. And he just looks at you and goes, "They took Justina, didn't they? Did you rescue her? Did you rescue her? Where's Justina? Where is she?"
If you hadn't have rescued us, we'd be gone too. We don't know what happened to her, but we couldn't even save ourselves.
Was she there?
Yes.
She was.
Did she make it out alive?
Yeah, she's gone travelling on the mainland.
We don't know.
Which one is it? Tell me the truth.
We don't know. We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't
We
know.
saved. She didn't get taken by the mermaid.
Yeah, we saved her from the sacrifice.
He was my fiance, and we broke up. I want it to rest. I want it to make it right. She's dead, isn't she? She's dead. And he rips off his dog collar, throws it into the sea, and just walks away. And that is the end of the Silver of the Sea. There is, whenever you get back, you hear that the herring period continued for a little bit longer. The inn actually survived the tidal wave, but was shut down. The saltery didn't make it. It didn't last long. And as far as you're aware, the herring, it lasted a couple of months, and then it stopped completely and went back to the archipelago, became this incredibly poor region. And that is the story.
But no more disappearing.
Sorry, it's one of those ones where I just thought, I would make it sad. It's just,
Nina.
by the way, in the book, she isn't really his fiance. I just thought that would be awesome to make you feel horrible. Sorry.
Yeah.
Did you find out what happened? So did were both the priest and Paul
Do you want?
sacrifices?
What I'll do? Can everybody roll a dice? And
Yeah.
tell me what number?
How many?
And actually, the number of dice you get is the number of questions you each get to ask if you want.
Oh, okay.
How many dice?
Just one dice.
I got 5.
Oh, I got 5.
Oh Lord!
So are you sitting comfortably?
Was it one dice?
Yeah, one dice.
Yes.
Please don't get sick.
I got 5.
What is it with 5?
I got 2.
Okay, can people just ask any questions you got?
Just go right ahead.
It's gonna be easier. So, what do you want to know? What do you want to know?
No, what did you say?
Oh, I wanted to know if both the priest and Paul were sacrifices to the mermaid.
No, I'm going to answer the questions exactly as you ask them. No.
Okay. So I don't think the priest could have been a sacrifice because his body was found.
Okay. Was the priest the sacrifice? Oh, sorry.
Was he a sacrifice? Do you mean did he
Sacrifice to the mermaid?
No. There is another way of asking that.
I'm so confused.
What happened?
What happened to him?
Oh yeah, that would make more sense.
He was taken as a sacrifice.
Who? What? Which question were you answering then? Mine or Rasmus?
Both, because you both asked the same thing.
No, he asked about Paul. I said he,
Paul.
and I was
The
mean
priest was taken as a sacrifice. And then who asked about Paul?
I did.
Rasmus.
He wasn't taken as a sacrifice.
Where
But.
is Paul? Oh, but
And I'm not going to tell you the but see if you can
Okay,
work it out.
so
What
Did
happened
he-
to Paul?
did he do what the others did and go into the water
Did he
with
go
the
to-
mermaid's song?
Yes.
But the priest wasn't a sacrifice, but he was taken to be sacrificed. So was it something that he was wearing that stopped the mermaid from taking him, or?
What do you know about the priest's body?
it was found with a bullet hole. Did he kill himself?
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, we kind of thought that he might be enchanted and killed himself.
No,
Did he kill himself?
wasn't enchanted.
He did it. Killed himself to stop it happening.
Yeah.
Yes. So then what happened?
So who was
what
over?
happened to-
Pardon?
Who was over? And what was over?
He's an old bloke.
Old
Yeah.
bloke, been there, done that.
He was an old bloke. He lived in the islands a long time, knew lots of stuff. He was your sage.
So why did Paul? So Paul wasn't a sacrifice.
He wasn't taken as a sacrifice.
Wasn't taken as a sacrifice.
So what happened to him?
What happened to him?
I think.
Did he forget to put stuff in his ears?
No. He wasn't kidnapped as a sacrifice.
But did he take the place of the priest?
Yes.
Because there was only usually one sacrifice.
They have to have one sacrifice, right? So if the
Yeah.
priest killed himself, then she'd have had to take someone else.
And she
And there was
took
nobody
Paul.
else there ready. There was nobody else there apart from the family. So
Yeah.
it had to be one of the family, right?
Yeah.
Is that why they bought backups this time?
Yeah.
Ah,
Ah,
And he was
they
he was
did.
actually willingly he didn't choose to be sacrificed. Abella put a shotgun on his back and told him it'll be a nicer death than the one I'll give you.
But probably the song helped a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it didn't sound like Justina was going to be ever the same again
Mm.
after she heard the. After
Keep
she,
telling yourselves that, as you abandoned her.
Yeah,
Bye.
I will. I didn't abandon her. I was drowning.
what happened?
But
To
I
the
didn't
father?
actually go back for her. So
What happened to the father?
Zacharias killed him.
What was the reason for that?
They were always arguing.
he was
Oh.
brutal.
Eventually, he just killed him.
Just
He
fed
just
up.
they had a fight, and he drowned him. He threw him over this. He attacked him. He killed him and threw his body over the side. And Abella was actually quite happy about it because he was quite abusive.
Were the people that were on the deep reef, were they ever seen again?
You don't know that yet.
Okay.
What was the palace all about? Is that where all the mermaids live?
Don't know.
There was something under the sea, wasn't there?
It could have been some bioluminescent animal, plankton that just happened to, and you just interpreted it that way. You don't know. Sorry, biologist. I think that's
We didn't talk to the mermaid, but could we have spoken to the mermaid? She did speak to us at one point.
Yes, but she would. I mean, basically, the way she's written, she will sit back unless you attack her. You do not want to attack her because she doesn't have physical attacks as such, but she just is quite powerful, and you would find it really challenging. Orver is quite an interesting one because Orver basically is written into the thing as a sort of safety net. So there's the bit where you were drowning, you could genuinely have died. So if you're broken in the water physically, you're going to drown and you're going to die. So the thing that's quite good about it is they've written in Orver as a sort of safety net. I think I probably used him a bit too quick, to be honest. I think it would be good to let you floundered about a bit in the water. Because what
I
happens...
might have thought about Justina a bit more.
To be honest, it was if you're flying about in the water, the other thing that happens then is while you're in the water, the Kraken attacks anybody who's in the water.
Ah,
And the Kraken has got a strength 14 attack.
Oh my God.
So you would be broken in the water very quickly. And you can be rescued. Or so having Orver there means that you don't die, which is good. And he's a silly character, he's quite a good character as well. So yeah, but because of that, let's go through this. So in terms of the experience points, so you've got a set of questions that we ask, and I'll pop the in the video. I'll pop these up. Did you participate in the session? Yes.
Yes.
Did you confront any Vaesen? Yes.
No.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was talking to the dog.
Oh, sorry.
I was only working then. I was like, pretty sure we did.
I'm so sorry.
This is the joy of Zoom. 'Cause you have no
Sit
idea what's going on. Did you identify a previously unknown Vaesen? Yes, I would say you did.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 2 points for that. Really should give you 1, but were you affected by your dark secret? I don't think anybody really was. Did you take risks to protect others in the whole mission? Gabriella did.
Gabrielle.
Have you learnt anything? What did you learn? So if everybody can tell me one thing you learnt, you can get a point for that.
I learned that French cheese is the only type of cheese you can put in your ears to avoid the cries of a mermaid.
There you go. There's one.
That you could knock a mermaid's spell, sort of, with touching somebody with metal.
Yep. Selma?
I learned that krakens can double up as islands in the sea. So always be careful when you're on an island to make sure, because you said it wasn't granite and we didn't investigate further what it could be.
Yeah. Madison?
Learned that kraken babies can also come on land, not just mermaid babies as well.
Cool. And Gabriella?
Mermaids' charms are powerful.
Yeah, that they've actually got
Powerful.
proper charms, not just because it's funny because we've got the whole Little Mermaid thing going on, So our idea of a mermaid is very different to actually what they were originally. So that's a point for everybody, and then have we? So how many points are you up to now? Is that 4?
6.
6.
Yeah.
Am I right? Yeah.
So it's from
You should have one more than us, Gabriella.
4, 5. Oh, so for some reason I've got 6. 1, 2, 3.
Should we have 5 and she should have 6 then?
Oh,
Yeah.
I ended up with one more.
I would say it's probably 5. I think,
Okay.
counting the ones from the last time. So, and 5 and a 6. So basically, that's enough to get you an XP, to get you an advance, is what they call it, or let me just check. What? An advance. So you can either increase a skill by 1 up to the total of 5 in total, or you can take another talent, and the talent can be from any archetype or anything else in the book. So have a think about that, and have a. What I'll do is I'll maybe just at this point I'll hit pause on the. I'll stop recording for a minute, and what we'll do is we'll give you a bit of time basically.